Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. The Civil Service Association, CSA, has written to the Cabinet of Ministers expressing concern and seeking clarification about a memo that first made the rounds online. Having confirmed the authenticity of the memo, which suspends all public sector appointments unless endorsed by the Cabinet, the CSA is railing against the move. CSA President Cyprian Montrop says what is being suggested is contradictory to the laws of the land and should be revised. Genevieve Gonzague reports.
A cabinet conclusion made its rounds on social media, stating that all appointments, including temporary appointments, acting appointments, and promotions, will be suspended for a period of 1 year, effective July 1st, except with the endorsement of Cabinet. The Civil Service Association has verified the authenticity of the Cabinet conclusion, and President Cyprian Montrop says the missive has raised many questions and concerns.
The law of the land says that is not the purview of the Cabinet of Ministers, and that is purely the responsibility, as per the Constitution of St. Lucia, of the Public Service Commission. And therefore, the Public Service Commission has to be seen as the only authority to be dealing with that according to the Constitution. And so the document in its current state is also suggesting that Cabinet can proceed in that particular direction in terms of making recommendations for promotions. And so we feel that is a very dangerous route, and we will never support, based on Constitution, any move or any document that will purport to permit that to happen. The other concerns raised by our members are issues relating to those persons who are currently in acting positions. The acting may come to an end during the period specified in the Cabinet conclusion. What would happen to those persons? What about persons who will be retiring or would be leaving the service during that period? If those officers are to act in higher positions, were to perform, duties in higher positions, would they be paid?
The CSA president says one of the biggest challenges still being faced by the bargaining body and the lawmakers is a lack of transparency and consultation when decisions that may affect the livelihoods of hundreds are made. He says, at this point, the CSA is seeking clarity on the intention of the conclusion, and based on the answer, they will determine how to move forward.
The union operates first with information, because we don't take ad hoc decisions. We have to be fully aware of what is in front of us before we can take decisions. If it is the wish of government to proceed unilaterally to take the decisions that would alter the future of our members, obviously we would come in to express what those concerns are. If we are part of the consultative process, we will bring to the fore what our concerns are in terms of the formulation of that policy. So until either one of that is fully met, then we would not know anything about actions except in our current action now, which is to get clarification and to ask government to call back that Cabinet conclusion in its current form.
Montrop says there are many qualms about victimization if the Cabinet is given the power to decide who fills a position in the public sector.
The very reason the Constitution was designed was to separate the Cabinet, which is the executive, from the Public Service Commission in terms of appointment, because with the framers of the legislation did not want political interference in employment within the service. And so if Cabinet were to receive that kind of blessing, obviously there will be, we don't supposed to dance around the wood, there will be victimization of employment within the service if that were to continue, if that particular process was to happen. And so we have to guard against that, and all public officers have to ensure now and in the future that we preserve that part of the law, and so that it never changes, so that people working in the service are supposed to be professionals and not attached to any political parties.
The CSA firmly believes that the current conclusion should be reconsidered or rescinded. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Following a recent incident where a St. Lucia national tested positive for COVID-19 upon arrival in a neighboring territory, Minister for Tourism Dominic Fede has announced that regional authorities have met and discussions are ongoing to see the travel bubble and accompanying protocols revisited. Jacques Wooding reports.
According to Minister for Tourism Dominic Fede, regional authorities have been diligent in revising the procedures of the travel bubble since receiving news of a COVID-19 case moving between neighboring islands.
We do have a travel bubble where even that we have actually looked at because when it was first conceived, Micah, what we did was to allow people to come in without being tested from safe countries. But we've since scaled back. The CMOs around the Caribbean have met and they have decided that they're going to adjust that to ensure that we have one layer of surveillance and one layer of protection.
Fede says though St. Lucia's borders are fully open, a close eye remains on countries outside of the travel bubble.
What we continue to do is to look at a lot of the high-risk areas. We're not just concerned about one particular country, but we're concerned about all the high-risk areas that may pose a threat or danger to the people of St. Lucia. And we continue to put protocols in place that are appropriate for the COVID incidents of those countries.
He believes that St. Lucia's tourism industry will eventually return to its former glory. However, the minister stresses protecting the health of St. Lucia's people remains top priority. Jacka Wooding, Hot 7 News.
Now, effective the 28th of July 2020, all costs associated with the testing of individuals who are unable to present a negative COVID-19 test upon arrival to the island will be transferred to the visitors themselves. The announcement was made by Tourism Minister Dominic Fede, who noted that in previous instances, St. Lucia bore the full cost of on-island testing, and it is just not feasible for this to continue.
People coming in will have to pay for the PCR test if they fail to produce a negative test at the airport. We have had a previous notum, which is the communication that go to the airlines. And in that previous notum, there was one clause which said that you get tested before you come, but in the event you're not tested before you come, you have to be tested at the airport. So we give visitors the option. But we have now removed that option for them to be tested on island.
The testing will carry a $100 price tag and is applicable to both tourists and returning nationals, whether they proceed to government quarantine or certified accommodation. Fede further expressed confidence in the medical community to mitigate any possible issue of counterfeit test results.
Based on everything that we know and based on the labs that we are seeing the results coming from, they are bona fide approved labs, and so far we have not seen any incidents where that is concerned. But it is something that we continue to open our eyes to, and we continue to be alert and vigilant in the event that any such occurrence
The United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency has since issued a warning to international governments to be on the lookout for counterfeit COVID-19 test results amongst the trafficking of fraudulent pharmaceuticals claiming to treat the illness. Minibus operators in St. Lucia have been agitating and negotiating with authorities to allow them to operate at full capacity. The president of the Southern Minibus Association, Philip Jamatis, says while drivers have not been given the go-ahead to do that, other significant strides have been made. On the other hand, other bus operators are saying they feel disrespected, seeing other sectors operate at full capacity while the transportation sector remains limited.
Several meetings have taken place where drivers have lobbied officials to allow them to operate at full capacity. The last meeting was held on Tuesday, and while drivers are still mandated to transport 10 passengers with flexibility allowed for families, they were able to make headway on other matters. That is, according to President of the Southern Minibus Association, Philip Jamatis.
We negotiated some months ago regarding the expansion of the road ban, the concessions and exemptions. We got it. We negotiated about the 60% of used vehicle and 100% of the new ones. We got it. We negotiated for the inspections that we are having at the ministry that should cease. It should stop. We got that. We negotiated for the rebate as well, and we were shown a cabinet conclusion, which is one of the highest decisions in the land, that says that the money must be paid between before the third quarter of the year, which is between August and September. It has to be paid. It must be paid. And the exemption, the compensation for the time we stayed down, we did not work. That thing is coming before the third quarter of the year as well.
While it seems that these are some stellar rewards to drivers, not all of them are satisfied. One driver made the case that at this point, it makes no sense that drivers are so limited given all the activity going on in the country.
Head down, no respect for bus drivers. Because if you all want to follow protocols, you all open all sectors. Borders are open, tourists are coming in. And we can carry at least 13 or 14 passengers, not even the 15 we're querying for, at least 13 or 14. You check it, 3 on each seats, and we can roll that way. But when you go on the beach, we're transporting them same set of people from town to Pigeon Island. When they reach there, they have no protocols, right? They together, they mingling together. And when they getting back to the destination, you mean to tell me they have to be social distancing?
Another driver brought across the point that there are visitors blatantly disregarding protocols, yet it seems that drivers are the ones being quote-unquote punished. He has asked that authorities initiate other mechanisms that could help them meet their immediate obligations.
I think already the drivers are suffering in a lot of departments in terms of insurance. I mean, we carry 75% of our capacity, and we're still insuring for the entire bus. You understand? And then they're speaking about social distancing. And how much social distancing can you really have on a bus? And then you're giving us a capacity of 75%. That doesn't make any sense. So it's either you all help us by reducing the fuel and work with us, or do something.
Fuel, the fellas just jack up the fuel the last Monday.
So something better have to be done than that. We're already at risk.
They have expressed dissatisfaction with how officials sensitized the public transportation sector, claiming that a lot more could have been done. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more news coming up after the break.